Hello, and welcome to Office Hours with Dr. Dan. I'm Dan. Today's question is, where should I go to college? And the most straightforward answer to that question is you go to college where you can get the marketable skills you want for the least out-of-pocket cost. So marketable means that people will hire you when you graduate from that school with that degree or with that certification. And how do you find out whether or not people will hire you? Well, you can ask the school, where do their graduates typically end up? That's one thing. But then you can also go and do some research on the internet of some companies that you might want to work for. So if you want to be a video game designer, you go look up the websites of your favorite video game design companies and look at, see, well, okay, where did their employees go to school? What kind of skills do their employees have? And that's one way that you can do that. You can call up human resources at the companies that you're interested in and say, hey, I'm thinking about majoring in this program at this school, or those things that you look for when you're hiring. So that's another way that you can find out whether your degree is going to be marketable when you get out of school. And as far as out-of-pocket costs, that's how much you are going to be on the hook for to pay for that degree program. So there's scholarships and grants. Those are some of the types of financial aid that you may be able to get. And scholarships and grants don't have to be paid back. So if you get a scholarship or a grant, that's money given to you to go to school with that you don't have to pay back, whereas obviously loans have to be. So if you have a financial aid package that includes a lot of loans, that's going to be money that you're going to have to pay back. That's going to be an out-of-pocket expense. And you may get a better financial aid package of scholarships and grants going to a more expensive school than a least expensive school. I know it sounds kind of counterintuitive, but some of the really expensive schools have really large endowments, and they figure that, okay, if you're good enough to get into our program, then we're going to help you out excuse me, as much as we can. So I did a little quick research on the three schools that I went to for my undergrad, my master's, and my PhD. So I looked at what's the current cost of per year for an undergrad degree at each of those three schools, and then I looked at what is the average starting salary that they reported on their websites for civils, mechanicals, and chemical engineers. And I just picked those, the civil because I'm a civil, the mechanical and chemical because I could find that information. And the private school, the per year cost of tuition fees, room, board, books, so the whole kit and caboodle to go to school there for a year was $60,000. $60,000. The public schools for an in-state person, someone living in the state, was $27,000 a year for everything. Again, tuition fees, room, board, books, incidentals. So it's basically a little more than twice the cost to go to the private school as it is to the public school for an in-state person. And the average starting salary for the civil was $58,000 at the private school, and the average starting salaries at the two public schools were $59,000 and $63,000. Mechanical started at $64,000 at the private school, and at the public school was $63,000 and $74,000 were their averages. Chemicals at the private school was $70,000 versus the public school was $66,000 and $82,000. So these are averages, and they were all for the same academic year, for the same graduating class. So granted, there's people above that, there's people below that, but the average is a decent place to look. So you see, you can pay twice the amount of money to go to the private school, and then you're going to come out making about the same as what you're coming out from a public school, because there are just basically ranges of starting salaries for specific career fields. So if you come out as a civil engineer, whether you come out from the highly regarded private school or a well-regarded public school, you're going to start at about the same. So it's a matter of, are you willing to pay twice the amount to go to the private school as you are the public school? But again, your financial aid package at the more expensive private school may mean your actual out-of-pocket costs are less. Or if you look at it, well, it's going to be maybe a $3,000 or $5,000 a year difference to go to the private school as opposed to the public school. And the private school has a lot smaller classes. It's in an area that you like. There's all those other things to consider, but you do need to look at costs so that you're not coming out with this horrendous amount of debt. And then you also need to look at, well, what are the placement rates for people graduating from this school and the programs that I'm interested in, finding jobs in their field, right? In their field is a big key, because it's like, oh, well, they got a degree in civil engineering, but then they ended up waiting tables or working in as a sales associate at a Best Buy or something like that, not because they wanted to, but because that's the only job that they could find. So you need to be real careful about just accepting at face value the information that the school passes out. You also need to have a decent idea of what you want to major in before you pick your school, excuse me, so that you make sure the school has a decent program in what you want to major in. If you just go in with general studies with the intent of picking something later on, that may work out for you, but you may find out that, well, you think maybe I want to be an accountant, and then you find out, well, no, I don't want to be an accountant, I want to major in biology, and then maybe the biology program at the school you're attending is not very good, they don't have a good placement rate, or they just don't have a biology program, and then you're going to have to go in and figure out, oh, well, now what do I do? I'm either going to stay here, I'm going to major in something I don't want to, or I have to transfer, and am I going to lose credits? Am I going to lose time? Is it going to take me longer to graduate? So if you have no idea of what you want to major in, it's really going to make your picking the school a little more difficult, because it's like, well, what am I going to do? I might want to major in this, I might want to major in that. So another thing to consider is the degree program at the schools you want to attend, or the school you want to attend, is that degree program accredited, and does it matter whether or not it's accredited? For engineering programs, it matters whether or not it's accredited. And accredited means that there's a specific organization that says, yes, this program meets our standards, it is a good program, the people that the graduates have been taught these minimum set of skills, as opposed to an unaccredited program. It's completely up to the university of what they, or the organization, to what constitutes the degree, what courses make up the degree. So for, again, engineering, it's important. Other fields, maybe not. So just because your program isn't accredited, maybe that's not a big deal. Your school needs to be accredited, because if it's not accredited, then they're not going to be able to get the federal financial aid, either A, at all, or B, very easily. So make sure you research the school that you're going to. And can you get your basic courses out of the way at a community college? Community colleges are generally cheaper and have smaller class sizes. So can you get your English, histories, maths, basic sciences out of the way at a community college for a lower cost, maybe be able to live at home and work part-time and save up some money rather than be spending money all the time? So that's something to consider. But you also need to make sure that if you go the community college route, that whatever credits you are in there are going to be transferable to the schools that you want to go to. So generally, if you transfer from a public community college to a public four-year university within your state, a lot of states have laws that say the four-year schools must accept those credits. So maybe your state does, maybe it doesn't. Just keep that in mind. You don't want to go and earn, spend 2 years or more at a community college getting what you think are the basics out of the way, only to want to transfer to another school and find out, oh, we don't accept any of those, or we're only going to accept half of those. So you've thrown away time and money, and now you're going to be going to school longer, which the longer you're in school, the more debt you can incur, the more apt something's going to come up that could derail graduation. Another question you need to consider is, do you want to be close to home or far away from home? That's completely a personal thing, so that you have to look at, do you want to be able to run home on the weekends or sometime during the week, or do you just want to go and come back on summer breaks, if that. So that's a completely personal thing you need to look at. Do you want to go to a big school or a small school? So big schools generally have a lot more variety in degree programs. They have a lot more choices of electives. There's a lot of other activities to do. They're generally in bigger cities with a lot more things to do. Or do you want to go to a small school that may have a narrower range of degree programs and smaller class sizes and a narrower range of electives, and maybe it's in a big city and maybe it's not in a big city? So again, those are very personal things that you have to answer. And at the end of the day, it should be your choice on where you go. Now, granted, if someone other than you is paying for school, then they're going to have some kind of say in where you go. So you need to take that into consideration. If someone's going to pay for you to, to go to school X because that's the family tradition, but they won't pay for you to go to school Y, is it really worth going to school Y if you're going to have to go into a bunch of debt? Maybe it is. So again, that's something you're going to have to keep in mind. But then also remember, at the end of the day, if you get your degree from school X, Y, or Z, and it's the same degree, and they're all decent schools that have a well-regarded program. At the end of the day, 2 or 3 years after you graduate from college, it really doesn't matter where you went to school most of the time. It's more, what have you done? If you went to school for video game design, what parts of what games have you designed? If you're a civil engineer, it's, well, have you gotten your license? What projects have you been involved in? So it's really, once you get out of school, what have you done with that degree? So it's a big decision to pick your college, but just keep in mind that going to one school versus the other school is not an overtly life-altering things, where you go to one school, you'll be super successful, and you go to a different school, you're going to end up bankrupt and on the street. It's, what did you major in? What did you do with that degree? So hopefully this has helped. Take care, and I'll see you next time.